All right, what is happening, everyone? It's almost time to kick off another college football season. August 23rd isn't that far away. Opening weekend games happening, and the NCAA Football Throwdown Podcast is back for a 7th season, baby. Welcome back, everyone. Are you ready for some football? Oh, I am EJ Gar, that Rainmaker guy. And it's time for my 7th annual Team Totals Future Show, and my 2nd here at the Sports Betting Pub, and my 3rd at the YouTube channel. Of course, the first 5 years of the Throwdown happened to get more sports when I was running that site, and last year I decided to bring it back for a full 6 seasons, so there's only one thing left to do, baby. Ring the bell! When the bell rings, it's time to get it on, and as I've done every year, and last year here at the pub, my annual college football Team Totals Futures podcast is all about reading my crystal ball with my predictions for the upcoming college football season. Now, next Wednesday, I'll be doing a short podcast to cover the 5 games on that August 23rd schedule. And every Wednesday, you can expect a new episode to pop up on your Spotify, on your YouTube, wherever you find podcasts. Hopefully, I'm listed there, and plenty of platforms, and each show will be listed up there as they go. And so let's break down some football futures, tackle some numbers, give out some team totals and conference expectations too. Got a lot to talk about here. I also want to mention my new affiliation with a site called Bankroll U. I'll be hosting weekly video shows called Build a Bigger Bankroll on their platform this year, and if you happen to stumble upon Bankroll U, and you want to open an account there, use the promo code Start the Show, and you'll get 40% off any bankroll to start your combine and start making money over there. Yep. It's a different kind of sports book. You win real money on that site. It's not like a normal sports book. It's a little different approach to it all. And I also post 10 or 12 picks a week in their Playmaker area, which is all free for the world to see. You're welcome. All right, now listen, we're going to be spending about a half hour here today, so we got a lot of show to talk about, and it's time to go conference by conference. I'm going to give out a handful of conference expectations for these teams, starting with the American Athletic Conference, the AAC. Boy, I'm giving Memphis all this credit for that. Brendan Lewis is coming in the quarterback, replacing Hennigan. Is Hennigan going to be that easy to replace in the expectation for Memphis to win the whole entire AAC this year? I'm not so convinced. You know what? I'm going to take that Memphis team total under 8.5 wins this year, to be honest with you. Win the AAC, are you? Okay, we'll see about all that, won't we? I love challenging that call. That's my first big call of my Team Totals Futures podcast. Memphis is not going to win 9 games, and they won't be in the AAC title game. How about that? And here's Army. You know what? I'm sorry. You lose Bryson Daly. That's not losing just some guy in that offense. He was their offense. Let's make no mistake about what Bryson Daly did last year for Army. And now they're going to win 8 games, are they? No, I'm sorry. I don't see Army winning 8 games this year. Last year was a year where it was a dream season for them, of course. And without him, nope, I cannot put the expectation on Army to go out and put up another 9, 10, 11. No. They're under 7.5 wins for Army. And I do have other expectations for 3 teams to overachieve this year. East Carolina. Now who's going to forget last year's bowl game? It's a rematch of the bowl last year. East Carolina was getting a touchdown. NC State was going to supposedly beat them all up, and yes, 26-21 East Carolina upset doggy. Come on, man. Now they're getting 12, next on August 29th or 30th, whenever that is. Those two are going to meet on opening day. And North Carolina State's favored by 12. Tell you what, man, East Carolina's over 6.5 team totals, plus 120 to win 6.5 games. Caden Hauser's back. He stayed for his 2nd year with the Pirates. I watched his video. They were talking about Jaquan coming in there, and he was like, that kid, he is going to be someone I'm going to be using a lot. He's a burner down that field. As long as he's catching footballs, I think that Hauser and Jaquan are going to be a connection that's going to lead to a lot of good things for East Carolina this year. I think they have a good chance of contending for something big in the AAC this year. And even though I don't think UAB or Tulsa is going to end up being any kind of big game after the regular season ends, but UAB getting 4.5. UAB can win 5 games this year. I like what they have back, and I like that. I don't see why the Blazers can't win 5 games, and I don't see why Tulsa can't win 4. Tulsa's over 3.5. Minus 110. Okay, you know what? Is it tough to pick Tulsa to win 4 games ever? Yes, it is. But Tulsa can win 4 games this season. And that's what this show is all about. This season. Not anything that's happened before. Tulsa's going to overachieve, win 5 games this year. How about that? The AAC is going to be wide open. Come on, man. Come on. All right, let's jump to the ACC. And, Belichick, of course, makes the biggest headline, joining North Carolina. And, their over team total 7.5 wins is plus 145. If North Carolina wins 8 games this year and you have that plus 145 on the board, you're a happy camper. Gio Lopez, though, come on, man. Obviously he's a little undersized. And that southpaw, throwing the ball around stuff, everyone has the same concerns about him trying to get some balls past 20 yards with any kind of touch. And that's going to be scary. Max Johnson, his senior year is this year. Why is Max going to be like, oh, man, I just want to sit here and watch things happen around me? I'm not buying that. I think Max Johnson might have more to do with how the North Carolina season goes than Gio Lopez does. Telling you that. We'll see. But I don't think I can't play I can't play that. It's just I almost want to mention I don't think Gio Lopez is going to help North Carolina win 8 games this year, not in the ACC. Especially because I expect both Virginia teams to overachieve. Virginia and Virginia Tech team total is 6.5. Virginia's over is plus 110, and the Virginia Tech over is plus 130. With 7 wins from either one of those two. Yes, please. I think Virginia and Virginia Tech are both going to find ways to win games this year and to be competitive in the ACC. So with plus money on the board for 2 teams from Virginia. Virginia's for lovers, man. So I love those 2 to play some football this year. Carson Beck, huh? Okay, that's an interesting little addition to the Miami Hurricanes offense, I'd say. 9.5, though. Now, 9.5 is quite the expectation. Carson Beck got that whole resume coming over here from Georgia. We all get that. But what's the Miami scheme of things? They lost a lot. Obviously, I guess you're trying to replace Cam Ward with Carson Beck, which is close. It's pretty close, I guess. I don't know if Beck's going to put up the same numbers Ward did last year, but he might have some guys around him that can help him. But 9.5 wins. Miami has to win 10-2. I don't see it. I think Miami's going to lose 3 games. I also think Pittsburgh's going to lose more than a bowl game because that Pittsburgh team total is 6.5, and I'm taking it under. So even if Pitt does get to a bowl game at 6-6, that'll be the best that they can do. I don't see a 7-5, 8-4 Pitt team this year. I just don't. So that Miami under 9.5 and that Pitt under 6.5 will wrap up my ACC stuff, and I want to move to the Big 12. Keep the show rolling. You see Scott Frost is joining Central Florida this year. How convinced are we that Scott Frost is going to be something big that happens with the Knights this year? I'm taking that team total under 5.5. I'm not convinced that Scott Frost is going to help UCF do anything big this year. I don't see a bowl game in their future this year, especially. Arizona State, okay, well, 8.5. And everybody, all the magazines I'm reading, Arizona State's a contender this year after that big season last year. Whoa. Hold on. All right, I got the Big 12 title, but that double overtime loss to Texas in that Peach Bowl was a little disheartening. Scotty Bowe's gone. Sam Levitt's back, I'll give you that, but they got Baylor, Utah, Iowa State again. And who knows if they're going to play Iowa State again in that whole, Iowa State and Arizona State were both incredible last year. I don't think Arizona State's going to be that incredible team that all of a sudden is now a contender year in and year out because they had the one big year. Nope. Arizona State team total under 8.5 wins for me. Thank you. Wegman coming in from A&M and going to Houston. So what? What's your point? I don't care. I'm not impressed, and I don't think Houston's going to be a bowl team this year. Under 5.5 wins is also plus 150. Baby. Back-to-back 4 in 8 years. And Houston's got another big tough schedule ahead of them too. Okay, go 4-8 again, man. Go. You know what? I'll even give you 5-7. How about that? You're still not going to hit your team total. Sorry. And with Retzlaff leaving BYU for Tulane, what? How is BYU going to recover from losing Retzlaff? I'm not thinking that the Cougars are going to be a bowl team this year either. Even if they do get to 6-6, it's still going to help me hit my under 6.5 team total with the Cougars. I don't see BYU having a big campaign with Retzlaff going to Tulane. And I actually saw the Tulane video with him talking about what they just come off the field a couple of days ago. He's happy as a pig in mud doing all this stuff over there. So I'm sure he's glad he left. BYU's going to be like, damn it. Could have used him. I mean, they might start 4-0 or 4-1, whatever, but they might not win another game after that. Look at that schedule. BYU's schedule is tough, man. Losing Retzlaff is tougher. The two teams I'm going to mention overachieving. I mentioned Iowa State. Rocco Betts, Davey O'Brien on watch list. And that team total is 7.5. Like, they can't overachieve this year. If anyone of the two is going to be trying to get back to that Big 12 title game, Iowa State over 7.5 wins, well, you're not going to get there without 9 of them. Iowa State can certainly go 9-3, 8-4 this year at worst, and hit that over 7.5. And you know who's going to surprise me with Sorsby on that Maxwell watch list too? Cincinnati. Why can't Sorsby be somebody who can change a couple of games and win 3 of them for them and get them to 7-5? If not even better, I think Cincinnati's going to be hanging around with Iowa State near the end of the year. And one of them, if not both of them, might be fighting for a Big 12 title appearance. Yeah, I said that. Talk about that more later because I'm going to bring up some conference total or conference expectations at the end of the show, and those two might make my board. Tell you that right now. All right, Conference USA, 10 teams this year, and 2 newcomers with Missouri State and Delaware. Oh boy! Now, when is Montana and North Dakota State going to get into FBS? Montana can fill a stadium better than anybody. I mean, there's some FBS teams that can't do what Montana can do. And North Dakota State's just a stalwart in that FCS. I don't know why they haven't moved up yet, but I'd like to see them too. Even if it is just Conference USA, you know what? It's still bigger time than Big Sky. Anyway, Conference USA. So Liberty's team total is 9.5 this year. And please, yes, and look at that schedule. My God. Okay. Liberty's going to win that conference without doubt, and I'll talk about that later too. But Liberty's team total is 9.5, and they're going to go 11-1 at worst. I don't know who's going to beat them on that schedule, but they're going to play pretty well this year. 2 other overachievers I have in Conference USA is La Tech. Why can't the Bulldogs get 6.5 wins at plus 130 no less? So hold it, yo. You telling me a 7-win campaign for the Bulldogs can't put 130 in my pocket? Oh man. I love, me, and plus money. Some of my 2 favorite words. 6.5, La Tech, plus 130, sold. And UTEP too. Well, you can't. Well, UTEP's not going to win 5.5 games this year. Bowl season after a 3-9 second year under Walden. Something tells me that UTEP's going to be in a bowl game this year. And a plus 115 for the over 5.5. Another plus money play where just I'm taking a chance that UTEP can win 6 games this year. I get the dismal stuff that's gone on over there, but something tells me those Miners are going to play some football this year. And even that's over. Wow, that's not even that over of an expectation. Come on, 6 wins, man. Have a season. All right, it's time for the Big Ten time. Boy, Penn State and Ohio State team totals are 10.5. Both of them. So they're both going to have to go 11-1 or 12-0, and they're going to play each other. So I don't know how that's going to work out. And then why wouldn't they lose again? I can't take either one of those team totals at 10.5. Something's going to go straight for both of them. What's Ohio State bringing back, by the way, that's so overwhelming that the Big Ten's going to be like, oh my God, the team Ohio State's putting on the field is so new. So what? I'm sorry, man. I get that they signed a new contract and he's going to be there a while. And there's certainly plenty of people who want to go play for Ohio State and the whole Midwest and even Florida, all that too. But Texas too. But I don't know. I'm sorry. A 10-2 campaign for Penn State and Ohio State would still be a monster successful season. It sucks that both of their team total under 10.5 wins is minus 125. I hate to put any kind of juice on the board. You know me. But at the same token, I don't see either one of them winning 11, 12 games. Wisconsin will find a weird way to get in the way of some of that. That over 5.5 wins for plus 140 for the Badgers. A 6-6 Badger team. Come on. Wisconsin. Come on, man. I think that over 5.5 is playable at plus 140 with the Badgers. Be a bowl team, please. And Indiana's going to be a team that struggles this year with that 8.5 team total. Whoa. 9-3 Indiana. Nope. Not buying that. And it sucks that the Iowa team total under 7.5 is minus 150 because if Iowa wins 8 games this year, wow. That will be a shocker and a half. I don't see how Iowa is going to win 5-6 games at best this year. If they make some trivial bowl game early in the year that no one cares about, that'll be as good as it gets for Iowa. At 7.5, it sucks it's minus 150, though. Damn it. All right, let me slide over to the MAC since we're in Big Ten country anyway, and MAC is pretty much right around there. Central Michigan, plus 125 for the over 5.5 wins. All right, chip away, and get 6 wins for me, please. Come on. Eastern Michigan and that over 4.5. The Eagles are going to be fine at minus 110 for 4.5, 5 wins. 5 wins for the Eagles. Okay. Yeah, I have 2 other teams. One's a surprise. Well, maybe they'll both be a surprise. Miami, Ohio is not going to win 7 games this year. Redhawks team total is 6.5. Nope, I'm saying it's going to stay under, and even if they do get to a bowl game at 6-6, that's as good as it gets for them this year. And you know what I think is going to overachieve? And a lot of people I see a few sites out there almost already calling for it. Buffalo's going to be pretty good this year. If they have any chance to do something big in the MAC, this would be the year to do it. So that over 7.5 for Buffalo and only minus 115 the tag on. Okay, fine. Let Buffalo overachieve this year. I mean, if expectations are going to be through the roof, well, live up to something. About time, right? When was the last time Buffalo lived up to anything? Let me slide over the Sun Belt before I move on to bigger stuff here because we got Mountain West. I got a lot to talk about in the Mountain West. So we're heading to Sun Belt. The Eagles have 8 wins on that. Georgia Southern is plus 130 for the over 7.5 wins. Yes, please. The Eagles are going to win 8 games. They're going to win 9 games. They could even win 10 games this year and win the Sun Belt. Yes, Georgia Southern is going to be that good this year. Louisiana is going to challenge that, I think, too. Their over team total over 7.5 is worth playing after losing that Sun Belt title game last year and getting killed in the bowl game, too. But, it's a rough way to end a 10-win campaign. But they were 10-2 last year. Okay. I mean, it sucks that they ended up 0-2 to finish the year like that. You got to figure that coming back for another year, that's sitting on everyone's plate, pointing to big games like, well, we got to not only get back here, but we got to avenge all those hard losses. So you can't do it without winning 8 games. Louisiana, Raging Cajuns, winning 8 games. Team total over 7.5. And Southern Miss is going to hit their team total under 5.5 again. I mean, yeah. 1-11, 1-12, or 1-11. They win a game. I don't think Southern Miss is going to do too well this year. So even see 5.5 as a team total with the Eagles. What? Wait, what? What are you talking about? How is Southern Miss going to win any kind of games? 5.5? How about no? All right, Mountain West. I said you have a lot to talk about. So Boise. Easily expected to run away with the conference at 10.5 win team total. An Irish game being the toughest test for them. I'm not touching that because the under minus 150. The under is minus 150 for them to go 10-2. And last I checked, when 10-2 is a bad year. But I can't even play that. I really just can't. This conference is going to look a lot different next year too, with Boise, Fresno leaving, San Diego State leaving, Utah State leaving. A lot of people are leaving, so it's going to be tough to see what the rebuilt Pac-12 looks like. Realignment is still going to be changing things for conferences this year, next year. But this year's edition is going to be interesting. I expect that UNLV Rebels squad in Vegas to have another solid season. We're talking 11-3 last year. Dan Mullen takes over. He brings in Calandria from Virginia to call some signals. And Jaden Thomas is going to break 1,000 yards in that backfield. Tell me he's not. As long as that whole line can learn how to work together. Remember, they got a completely rebuilt offensive line and defensive line. But bringing in talent that you might not have had before isn't always a bad thing. They did a lot in the transfer portal to bring in some people to fill those voids. So it's just about gelling together. And you talk about Mountain West here. It's not like we're talking about SEC, Big 10, Big 12 stuff. You're all a level playing field for the most part. So watch for Jaden Thomas to have a big year for them. I see 9 wins for the Rebels. So that team total 8.5 for UNLV. UCLA, Boise being those bumps in the road. Colorado State maybe on the road is going to be tough. But they can still go 9-3 again. And speaking of Colorado State, that Rams team total was 6.5 at plus 140 to the over. I mean, it had my attention. They could have won 10 games last year. They were 8-5, still pretty good. 7-5 is a downgrade for Jay Norvell. Give me that lovely plus 140 for a 7-5 Rams bowl season. Plus 140, God, love the flavor behind a plus 140. Let them win 7 games. We're not asking them to do it. Go out and go crazy overachieving. 7 wins is not like, wow, what a year. Okay. So, and San Jose State too. Now, 7.5. I mean, they're being considered a bit of a contender in that whole Mountain West Conference. And they can win 8 games. Was it all just hype? You look at the Spartans' schedule. There's 136 teams in FBS, right? The Spartans have the 134th easiest schedule according to last year's opposing win percentage. So, if any of the teams that did what they did last year kind of stay where they were, and San Jose State's supposed to be taking a jump up, having a schedule, a nice, easy schedule in front of you. And, a lot of people are calling for you to have a big year. What the hell's 8 wins? San Jose State Spartans over 7.5 wins. It sucks that they put that Hawaii 5.5 win total at minus 150. Come on. Hawaii's going to win 6 games this year. It'll be pretty good. I'm already taking them for opening day against Stanford, too. I'll tell you that way early in advance. Hawaii's only laying 1.5 against Stanford to open the campaign at home. Okay, Stanford's in trouble. So that's 1 win for Hawaii. I think Hawaii's going to have a schedule that they can win 6 games. It just sucks. It's minus 150. All right, there's only 2 independent teams this year with UConn and Notre Dame. So if UConn, you set 7.5 as a team total, it's only minus 115 for the UConn Huskies to hit 7.5 wins this year. That schedule and that running game and that offensive line with even more added experience to it. Fine, let the Huskies win 8 games. Oh man, that's minus 105 for 7.5 wins for UConn this year. Yes, please. I'm not going to touch the Irish because 10.5 wins means a lot. Nope. I'm not really going to deal with the Oregon State 6.5 because it's minus 175. Can Oregon State win 7 games this year? Probably. They got Washington State twice. And you see, before the Washington State game, they got a bye. And before the second Washington State game, they have a bye. Those are the 2 byes. Prep up for the Wazoo games. Yeah, I know. All right. It's time to unveil the SEC projections for the 2025 college football season. Expectations galore in these parts. Them parts. Those parts. Over there. So, I'm about to lose a lot of fans from Tuscaloosa. Sorry. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. No, I can't get it out. Sorry. I can't get it out, man. 9-3 is the best that Alabama can do this year, and their team total is 9.5. Nope. Sorry, it's minus 105 for the under, minus 9.5 wins for Roll Tide. Yeah, now I can get it out because I can say I'm playing the under. Sorry, I'm not. Nope. Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma, of course, the Iron Bowl, whoever knows what's going to happen there. They could both stink. They could both be great, and it could still be a game. Yeah, I'm going to roll those Tide all the way to under 9.5 wins this year. They're not really giving us any room in this conference to make too many team total plays. Oklahoma, Missouri. Oklahoma's team total of 6.5 is minus 200. And Missouri's team total at 6.5 is minus 180. Like, where's the meat on the bone? Oh, balls have 3 quarterbacks that I can ball. Even yesterday, that team was trying to post that the job's still anyone's to win. I'm just reading about it. And I guess we'll find out soon enough. I expect App State transfer Joey Aguilar to win that opening day start against Syracuse, but we all might see Merklinger too. Sucks that their 7.5 wins is minus 170 for Tennessee. Minus 170? Like, come on, man. Keep it fair or move it up to 8.5 or do something where people can actually put some money on that. Ugh. The line setters aren't leaving anything for the Oklahoma 6.5. The A&M over 7.5 either. It's minus 170. You can't play that. The 9.5 wins for Texas is minus 175. Come on. And the LSU 8.5 wins is minus 165. Where's the room to tie up money for 4 months on a futures bet when you have to pay twice as much to get your money back? No, I'm sorry. I can't put up $100 to try and get 50 back in a month, or 4 months. It's just not my style. It does strike my interest. Those Kentucky 4.5. It's minus 110 either way. Toledo, Eastern Michigan, Tennessee Tech, and Vandy. Okay. So now they're going to find new in South Carolina, maybe. I know last year was a hellish 4-8 under Stoops, and the Cats are not expected to make a lick of noise in the SEC. Something tells me Kentucky's going to win 5 games somehow this way. They always do, except for last year, of course. But that Florida team total under 7.5. I can't find 8 wins, even with Lagway back. And is he healthy? Is he not healthy? And how healthy will he be when the season keeps going? I can't trust DJ Lagway to stay on the field for any point of the season. So Gator fans are going to be hearing the name Harrison Bailey a lot because that's might all they have to rely on. I just don't see an 8-4 Gator team. So under 7.5 wins is a play for the Gators. And I think that might be it for my team totals. I want to talk about a couple of conference wins I mentioned before. Buffalo at plus 400 to win the MAC. Now, you already heard me tell you I like their team total over 7.5 this season. I think some expectations are going to be there for Buffalo to have a big campaign. We win 9 games, make it to the MAC title game, maybe just either finish the job and lift the trophy. How about Buffalo plus 400 to win the MAC? I mentioned Liberty at minus 110 to win Conference USA. Come on, it's even money. That's easy money. Minus 110 is nothing. As long as they stay healthy, obviously, and everyone that they expect to be on that field is going to be there, that'll be fine. A couple of long shot looks I mentioned in the Big 12. Iowa State at plus 1,200 to win the Big 12 this year. They weren't expected to even be there last year, just like Arizona State wasn't expected to be there. Those lines are amazing. And Cincinnati, now why can't Cincinnati plus 2,500? What's wrong with throwing even $10 on Cincinnati to get $250 back? What? Go ahead. Yeah, you don't have to be a big spender to just try and get something nice return off a little bit of money. You can throw $20 and throw $100 on it and throw $2,500 in your pocket. Well, all right. But again, tying up money for futures betting is tough when you can't throw out too much money there. Like I mentioned, I have the Iowa State and Cincinnati team totals to go over, and I think they might end up being somewhere in there that title game. Lafayette Raging Cajuns plus 700 to win the Sun Belt. Raging Cajun. Win those close games, this team's going to be fine. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cajuns win that. Plus 700 is a nice little test of the water over there. All right, I mentioned a lot of stuff, and if I recap them all, we'd be here for another 5 minutes. So just keep in mind, I did really conference by conference, pretty much alphabetically, so just rewind the bar. You'll figure it out. Of course, I shot 62% last season with my preseason team total futures podcast, and hopefully I'll be doing somewhere in that range again. That's a nice number. Again, I'd like to thank the folks over at Bankroll U for promoting this year's show, and every Friday I'm hosting that Build a Bigger Bankroll show too. Don't miss 2 shows I have going this season because you like money and I like to make it rain. All right, I'll see you for week 1 betting on the Throwdown Podcast, August 20th. And then we'll cover those handful of games on Saturday, August 23rd, to really get the season started with putting money on the table with games and go from there. So thanks for tuning in. I'll, feel free to like and subscribe to my podcast, of course, and I'll catch you all next time here on the Throwdown Podcast. All right, ciao!